So, without further ado, I would like to introduce our very first speaker for the day. Serwah Smith is also a management consultant at KPMG. Can we give her a round of applause? We're blessed, guys, today. We are really, really blessed. So, Serwah is an experienced management consultant at KPMG and a career coach who specialises in early careers. So, for those of you who are still forming your early careers and still now trying to climb on that employment ladder, Serwah is your lady here today. Make sure we do what? Take advantage of those opportunities. After completing her economics degree in Manchester University, she was the only graduate of African heritage to be accepted on BT graduate scheme. So we've got record breakers in our midst today as well. This opportunity, we've heard that word opportunity again, allowed her to explore different parts of the business. And when the 2-year scheme concluded, she was promoted to a senior bid manager. So Serwah continued on the fast track and went on to lead the HR transformation for the European region before making the switch into management consulting. At present, Serwah is on the board as a non-executive director for a charity, Seeds for Growth, which aims to advance the education of those from disadvantaged communities by addressing their cultural, social, and health issues. She's also the founder of Proud African Kids, an organisation that seeks to educate children about Africa. So, ladies and gentlemen, can I ask that we give a very warm welcome to Serwah, our first speaker.
Hello everyone, how are you doing? Good, good. Okay, so I'm just going to ask you guys a couple of questions so that I can gauge my audience. So if you have graduated from university, could you stand up? Okay, loads of graduates in the room. Okay, have a seat, have a seat. If you're currently in university, could you stand up? Cool. And if you have no contact with the university, but maybe you're in sixth form, could you stand up? Awesome. And how about if you've taken another route, like an apprentice, or you've just gone straight into work? No? Entrepreneurs? Okay, cool. All right, so I know my audience. So my title today is the ABCs of Career Success. So the reason why I have decided to call it this is because I think the simpler you make something, the better. Sometimes when you overcomplicate something, it's hard to know which way to go. And then the hashtag all the way through, and I'm sure you're going to be hearing it, is it's not that deep. A lot of times people put so much pressure on themselves to make every decision the right decision, but actually sometimes life will just happen and you will get to where you need to get to. So just remember that. That's my key thing. If you're not going to take anything else away, it's not that deep. Yeah? Next. Okay, so who am I? So, the reason I like to start with this is because when people know more about you, they're more likely to listen. So, I'll start with the first picture. So, this is me and my husband, and he's there in the second row, Prince. And it's actually our 6-year anniversary today. And he's let me come here to give this chat because he knows this stuff is really important to me, and I think when something is important, you prioritize it. And so being here, helping the next generation, and even people of my generation and above, get into their heads what are the key principles to help me succeed in my career is something that is very deep and dear to me. The next picture is my kids. So I've got 3 kids. I've got Ariana, and then I've got twin boys as well, Levi and Leon. And the third one is Proud African Kids. And actually, Levi and Leon are the reason I even thought about Proud African Kids, because when I had them, I went back to Ghana for a year, and whilst I was there, I realised that, bringing up children in this country of African descent, sometimes they can lose so much of their culture because they've been here, they're around a completely different demographic, and sometimes they can't link themselves back. So I created this organisation so that I could create kind of mechanism which would help people who come from Africa to remember where they come from and learn more about their background. So that's a bit about who I am. So hopefully now that you know that, you'll listen more and be able to take in more of what I'm saying. So, to get started, I don't know where to click. Okay. My journey so far. So I think a lot of this was actually covered in the introduction, but I studied economics. I then applied for grad jobs. Luckily, when I was in second year, I got a summer internship at BT. So off the back of that, they offered me the graduate scheme. So I went straight into the graduate scheme after I finished. I then got promoted to management. And like she said in my intro, I literally went around all the different departments, and I was so happy that I did, because when you come out of university, sometimes it's so fresh and you don't really know what you want to do, and sometimes you can just hear what other people are saying and think, okay, let me go in this direction, and you don't actually know if that's what's best for you. So on the business graduate scheme, I was able to do loads of different things. I did sales, I did marketing, I did customer services, I even did an executive assistant role to a director. And after I finished the scheme, I still didn't really know what I wanted, but what I could definitely tell was that I liked the fact that I wasn't in anything for too long. So when I went into bid management, it was really, really short projects. And I liked the fact that I kept moving and I wasn't doing something that was the same all the time. When I finally realized that management consulting is what I wanted to do, some people would say it was quite far into my career, so I was like 7 years in at BT. But making the move was actually quite simple, because when you're trying to make that kind of career move, all you need to focus on is what skills are they looking for that I have. It's all about those skills that are just transferable that you can focus on. So as you go through this, just be thinking, what are my skills? Because you'll realize that actually it's not just one job that you can do, there's quite a few of them. And just figuring out what you want to do and then looking at what skills do they want, what skills do they have, and the ones that they want that you don't have, how can you get them? So, what is success? So I've got the dictionary definition here, but I wanted to throw it out to the group. So can one person tell me, what do they think success means to them in terms of career? And it's a personal thing, there's no wrong answer.
At the end of the day, being happy about the 8 hours I spent at work and going back home happy.
Okay, being happy at work. Anyone else? Empowering others. Awesome. Self-actualization. Hey, all of your answers are really deep. Could someone say money? Really, really deep. Money, thank you. Okay, so the accomplishment of an aim or purpose. So when it comes to career success, you're never going to feel, you can only say that you've been successful if you know what you were going for. Because sometimes people just fall into things like, oh, am I successful, am I not successful? They can end up comparing themselves to other people who feel like they're successful. But if you truly know what that aim or purpose is, you will be able to measure whether you've been successful or not. So someone getting 120,000, if their aim is to feel fulfilled, they're not going to necessarily feel like they're a success, even though someone else who maybe would define success as money thinks they're successful. So it's very important when you're going into career to actually know for yourself what are your values and what is going to make you feel like I am now successful in my career. Okay, now to the ABCs. So the A stands for ambition. Can everyone say ambition?
Ambition.
Good. Say it with a bit more vim. Ambition. Okay, cool. So my slides are not for decorative purposes. I've literally put these bullet points on so I can remember what I want to say. But ambition, a strong desire to do or achieve something. So this word could have been swapped with vision, it could have been swapped with purpose, but the number one thing I feel that you need to have a successful career is to have a strong ambition, a strong vision. And when I say that, you need to be able to articulate very clearly and very simply, what is it that I want? And the thing is, the thing that you want, you might not be able to go straight into it. But if you know what you want, at least you'll be able to take the right steps in order to get there. So I remember when I met my husband at the gym, he was a personal trainer. And, being a child from, I was from a family well-educated, like all of my dad's brothers and sisters are either lawyers or doctors or something like that. And I met this personal trainer and I fell in love with him. and I came home and I was thinking, I can't tell my dad that I'm with a personal trainer. It just it didn't seem like it was going to run. So because of that, I actually was like, look, could you actually change career quite quickly and so that I can go to my parents and tell them that you're something else? And it's so funny because my husband went to uni and he studied math, statistics and management. So and he'd gone through the whole corporate thing and he'd actually left because he realized that his passion was in personal training and physical fitness. But because he loved me more than he loved PT, he was like, okay, let me stop quickly. So he actually changed careers and went into teaching. So he actually went to teach maths in a grammar school. And when he was there, my obviously my dad was happy that he was a respectable profession. And things moved quite quickly. I was able to get with him, but he looked depressed. He would come home with like all of the marking, and he would just be. And I'm not. If anyone here is a teacher, I really apologize. But it didn't work. It didn't work for him. So my mom looked at him and said, "Why is Prince teaching?" And I said, "Oh, he's got a maths degree, so now he's teaching." And she said, "No. He should go and do something that he enjoys." And that is the kind of effect a career that isn't meant for you. It can be so draining that an African mom will sit back and say, "No, it's just stop. It's not worth it anymore." So you have to be very, very careful, because when you're working, your working life, it said that it's 80,000 hours of your life is spent in the job that you do. So anyway, so my mom told him to stop that, and he went back into personal training. And then after that, he became manager of his own gym. But the thing is, when I met him, the first thing he said to me was that I want to have my own gym. That was the ambition. That was the vision. At the time, we didn't have that much money. It didn't even seem like something that could realistically happen. But that was the ambition, and that was the vision, and that's what drove me into that industry. And now, we've now managed to get an amazing, amazing deal, and we're going to be opening up our own gym literally at the start of next year. And that's only because the ambition and the vision has stayed strong. And not only was he very, very clear on what he wanted, he also knew why he was doing it. He was doing it because he knew that it was going to be a legacy for his family. He was doing it because he wanted to do something that he's passionate about. He wanted to go to work and not feel like it was a chore, but something that he actually wanted to do, and helping people achieve their goals. So how do you create a clear vision for your career? It's not about sitting there and thinking, oh, what job can I do where people respect me? What job can I do where I can get most things? It's really sitting down and having that personal time to understand, what are my key skills? What are my core skills? And not only what are you good at, but what are you actually excited about? So when I say that, there's stuff that I'm good at. I'm good at maths. I'm very, very good at maths. I did my maths early even and still got an A star. But I would never want to get a job where I had to use maths or be a mathematician or do data analytics. So it's a thing where you have to understand, I'm good at it, but what are you good at that you also enjoy? And that's more the route I need to go down. So for me, it wasn't even necessarily that I wanted to be a management consultant specifically. I wanted to have a job where I could go and advise on different things, where I could present to people, where I would be client facing. So it was more the bits of the job rather than the job itself. So that is how you start building a clear vision. And from that, you can do things like vision boards, which are really, really useful. I have one at home, and I know what size I want to be one day. I know what house I want to live in. I know the car I want to drive, and it's all there. And I look at it in the morning, and I say one day. But that's what we need to start aiming towards. So ambition. So everyone say again, A for ambition. Ambition. Very, very, very important if you want to have that success in career. The second thing is branding. And I know this is going to be touched on later, but I think there's 3 clear things when it comes to branding that we need to think about. So the first one is physical appearance. So depending on the kind of job you want to have, you have to carry yourself in a certain way. If, for example, you want a job in the fitness industry, you don't turn up in a suit, probably, because there's a clear mismatch. Same way, if you want a corporate job, you also don't turn up for an interview in jock and box or whatever. And all of these things sound very obvious, but you would be surprised. You'd be very surprised. So your physical appearance is important. There's certain things that you need for different roles. So, for example, my sister actually moved to Ghana a couple of years ago, and bearing in mind that we're all brought up in the UK, when she went there, she wanted to start her property business, and what she basically does is she helps people who have like property, like lots of different properties. I was going to say property portfolio. She helps them to actually rent it out. She uses Airbnb. She also does short lets and long lets. And when she went and she was talking to some big people in Ghana, they weren't taking her seriously, and that's because she was thinking that they would look past what she was wearing and focus on what she'd been able to achieve so far. And so when she realized that they weren't taking her seriously. She wasn't getting the right business. She was asking me, so what can I do to change? I was like, it's Ghana. I was like, you have to go. It's like you have to understand what you're doing and then put yourself. So now, when you see her, like it's a straight skirt, heels. Like she doesn't wear flats anymore. Me, I'm wearing flats because yesterday I went out to celebrate my anniversary and my feet are hurting. But normally I'd be wearing heels to try and look professional. But so when she changed her look and she changed her brand, now she's got like the owner of Marriott in Ghana, Sir Sam, calling her. Oh, what are we doing? What's the next step? And it was a small change. It's not anything about her change, just physical appearance. She started to be taken more seriously. The second one is CV and cover letters. If you want someone to look at your CV and think, oh, this is someone who I think is perfect for this role, I can tell you now, people don't spend more than 1 minute looking at it. If they don't see those keywords straight away, they'll put it away. If they see them, they'll continue reading. So it's really important that if you're looking for example, a sales role, like my brother was when he finished university, you have to have those key buzzwords that people will think, oh, okay, he's looking specifically for a sales role. Because what happened was he just did a generic CV and was sending it to everyone, and the employers could tell he was getting absolutely no traction. As soon as he turned it around and he was able to put those buzzwords on, next thing you know, he's got a sales graduate scheme at GSK. And it's literally that, it was just a couple of words. So it's really important that your CV and your cover letter reflects exactly the kind of job that you want to get. And for me, what I do is I look at the job the job spec, and I literally copy their words and put it into my CV. Oh, you're looking for someone who has done this. Okay, I have done this. And it's a very simple copy. And they're like, oh my God, this person has everything. So it's about being strategic and understanding that you can't take your one CV and present it everywhere and think that you're going to get success. Everything is about strategy. The last one, and probably the most important in this day and age, is your online presence. Your LinkedIn has to match your CV. If your CV is saying that you worked somewhere for 3 years and your LinkedIn is saying that you did a summer internship for 3 months, it will get clocked. My husband is interviewing people all the time for personal training jobs, and it's so funny when you see the mismatch. Or it's hilarious. And then even now it's not just left to LinkedIn. If you don't have a different name for your Instagram, that can get checked. Your Facebook, that can get checked. So you need to make sure that your online presence is revealing the branding that you want to have in order for the career that you're in. The last one, C, coaching. So coaching is about I'm going to make it very simple. That could have been replaced by mentoring or anything else. But it's very, very important that you have someone who is either where you want to be or has had enough experience to guide you in the right way. For me, I've got my coach / mentor, everything. She's called Comfort, and she's from Ghana, and she has her own consultancy, and she also runs motivational events with her husband. And she's also on the board of the Bank of Ghana. And when I speak to her, I get inspired because she's been through the things that I'm going to have to go through. Therefore, she can say, oh, so I don't do this. Do this one instead. She can read through my application. She can read through my CV. She can give me advice whenever I need it. But I understand the relationship, and therefore I act accordingly. So I don't really approach her unless, so my first bullet point, I have a set goal that I'm trying to achieve. I mean, there'll be times I'll be like, hey, how you doing? What's up? But most of the time, when you have a coach or a mentor, you should have something that you're trying to achieve. And then that way you can get the most out of the relationship, because you can say, I'm trying to do this. Can you help me? Be very specific of what you want. And so that goes back to the A. If you don't know what you want, it's hard for people to help you. You can't come and say, oh, I just want a graduate job. My first response would be, in what? To do what? You need to have a very clear vision, because then it's easier for people to say, oh, I know someone you can talk to, I know of an opportunity here, and they can help you in that direction. So it's very, very important to get a mentor. The second thing is accountability. Once you have a coach or a mentor and you say you want to do something, they'll say, okay, the first step is you need to do this. And then they'll wait to see if you do it. And if you have a good one, they'll hold you accountable. You won't be able to just say, oh, sorry, I forgot. That relationship will deteriorate very, very fast. One of my mentees is here today, and he's such He's so diligent. I'll say, okay, you need to edit this on your CV. Within 24 hours, it's back in my inbox. I did that. I have a lot of people that I work with, and I did one of the exactly the same thing, literally on the same day. I gave them both advice. I'm still waiting now. I'm still waiting now for her to come back and say, this is my updated CV, because she's not serious. And when you have someone that you're working with, you'll be able to see very, very quickly who's serious and who's not serious. So it's important that you keep and you respect the relationship by respecting timelines. And even something as simple as today, coming on time is very, very clear who's serious when you see what time they show up and what they value. Because if there was a festival somewhere and you wanted to get a very good spot, you probably would have been there early. If it was someone that you respect, you'd be there early. And if you respect an event like this, where people are taking out their time to come and tell you, this is what you need to do in order to, you will be here early. So it's important that we take these things seriously. And the last one is a safe space. With a mentor or a coach, you're able to say, oh, I'm feeling like maybe I can't get this, and they can encourage you and they can help you, because most of the time they've been through these things before. And there's no point going through life trying to struggle and make it on your own, when you could just ask someone who's really been through it and help them to guide you along the way. So I think the safe space one is really, really important. Everyone who's ever done anything successful has copied. It's the art of copying. It's very simple. Bishop Dag Mills has got that book. I don't know if anyone's read about the art of copying. It's like, if you don't copy, then really what's the point? There's no new idea under the sun. When you say you want to be even a motivational speaker, that means you should be listening to motivational speakers every day, looking at their style, looking at how they talk, looking at what they do. If you want to get your own clothing company, who can you get who's already started theirs? How did they run their empire? How did they market? What did they do differently? There's always a way and sometimes when you copy, you'll even be able to copy and do it better. If you remember, I don't know who remember, does anybody remember Ask Jeeves? Yeah. Ask Jeeves would sit there, would type in a question, and we would just wait. and then thing come. And Google could have sat there thinking, there's already one. There's no need for me to make a search engine, because there's a search engine that's working. Google came and has changed the game. Now it's not Ask Jeeves, it's just Google it. Everyone just Google it. Like, don't ask me a question, just Google it. Like, that's my standard response to just Google. Even when my sister needs help with maths, have you Googled? So it's copying is a part of life. When you walk to Tesco and you walk down the aisle and you see bread, I've never seen so many different types of bread. Has anyone ever said, I'm not going to produce my own bread because Hovis is there? No, some people like brown bread. Some people like brown bread with seeds. Some people like brown bread without seeds, but maybe with nuts. So just, it's fine. Whatever idea that you have, whatever you're passionate about, whatever you want to do it, because everyone is doing everything anyway. And now the way that everything is international, your main market might not even be here, it might be somewhere else, but it doesn't mean it should stop you from what it is you want to do. And I said I'll do ABCs of career, so skills. So S is for the skills, and this one is really, really important, because I think a lot of the time people want to do things, but actually they don't have the right things that they need to get there. So someone would just be sitting there and saying, oh, I want to start my own nursery or something. But in this country, you can't it's not Africa, you can't just come up and start your nursery. You need to have certain qualifications, you need to do certain courses, you need certain approval from the government. And I remember my friend Jessica, she studied optometry at uni, so that's to become an optician. And she did really well. And then she did 1 month actually working as an optician. After that month, she said, I don't want to do this anymore. I decided I want to be in TV. And me at the time, I was very much like, just what are you doing? Like, do you know how much money you can get as an optician? But A, she had the ambition, she had a clear vision. I want to be in TV. I don't want to do this anymore. B, her branding was on point because she already had people that she was hanging around with who were already in that industry, and they knew of her as someone who was interested in it. And then C, she had coaches. So all she needed was the actual skills. So even after doing like a 4-year course to become an optician, she decided to go back and just do like a short diploma in like television recording or something like that. And now, when I thought she was being ridiculous, now she's an assistant producer on shows like The Apprentice. And all it took was for her to say, okay, I want to do this. I'm all the way over here. I don't have any courses to do with it. But what she do? She went, she applied, she did what she had to do to be seen as a respectful person in the field. She then volunteered, where people would be like, I'm not working for free. She would go and she would stand and she would watch and she would observe. And sometimes that's all you need. You just need to be in the area. And the next thing you know, opportunities are just coming up. So you need to be able to put your pride aside and say, I'm going to volunteer in the area that I want to get into until I feel confident to launch out on my own. Then read. I can't tell you, there's so many good books out there that you should be reading that can help you either specifically for where you want to get into or just wider reading that will teach you generally about just key skills in life in order to succeed. So I think reading is a really big one, and I think it's something that's not pushed enough. There's something that you get from reading that you don't get from watching videos, or you don't get from listening to it. Sometimes you need to read the words and really soak in what it's trying to tell you. So I think those are the things that you need in order to succeed. And if you have all of those in place, it should be fine. So the last thing I want to say is, could everyone just close their eyes for a second? Cool. So I need you at this moment in time to really think about the thing that it is that you want to do. Then I want you to think of what's actually stopping you from getting there. Then I want you to think about, is there anything that you could do differently based on what I've discussed today that could help you move one step closer to the place that you actually want to be? And put your hand up if it's still seeming impossible. Okay, open your eyes. So I think that not a single person put their hand up. And the reason why no one put their hand up is because it's not impossible. Sometimes ideas can seem big and scary, but they're actually not. If you think about it, the Wright brothers, them sitting there thinking, oh, what if we created something where you could just like fly and then go to another country? Everyone would have told them that they were crazy. But all they had to do was just take one step at a time until they made it possible. There's actually nothing that's impossible. People thought running a mile in 4 minutes was impossible until someone did it. And then when someone did it, 2 weeks later, someone else did it. Because it's like they had just broken the barrier that thing was impossible. So my top tips, what you should definitely be doing, stay positive and work hard. I always say that, and because I've heard it many times, that hard work completely trumps talent. You can sit there and be very, very good at something, but if someone comes and decides to work hard at it, they will beat you with your natural talent. They will completely beat you. There will be someone who you look at and think, I'm better than this person, but they'll be doing far greater things. Far greater things. Sometimes people think that the university you go to will match the kind of earnings that you could be making. Not true. Not true at all. My cousin Stephen Addison, I can use his name because it still baffles me. He probably didn't even pass GCSEs. and now you should come and see him. His company is called Boxed Up Crime, and he's helping young children from the streets get away from gangs through boxing. And Prince Harry came to visit his gym recently. That's how deep it is. When you do something that you're passionate about, you will surpass people who thought that you were nothing. You'll surpass people who thought that this person will not get far. You need to work hard and you need to believe in yourself. The middle one is what you shouldn't be doing. You shouldn't stay in your comfort zone. You shouldn't stay there because with this I have a nice career. I remember my ex-boyfriend told me when we were together at the time that as long as you're earning your age, then you're doing okay. So that meant that when I graduated, I was 21. So as long as I was on £21,000 a year, I'm doing okay. And at the time, it was like, okay. So when I got my first job and it was more than 21,000, I was like, oh, I'm ahead. But now that I've grown a bit, I've realised that actually no, that's a comfort zone. That's you being able to say, okay, this what I'm earning is okay. I'm doing okay because I'm earning my age. But no, it's not okay. You should be going far more than that. Now that I'm standing here today, I'm thinking, how can I get 3 times my age? How can I get 4 times my age? Because it's not enough. And why should I? That's a comfort zone. That's you being able to comfort yourself and say, oh, it's okay, as long as. But no, you should really dream big because we were not put here. Do you know what? Does anybody know? This is a question I'm going to throw out. Who knows the, what's it called? What am I trying to say? The probability of you being born the way you were born. So for your mum and dad to even have met, but then that particular sperm to hit that egg for you specifically to be born. Does anybody know what the odds are? 1 in
6 billion.
No.
6 million. Billion.
No.
Zillion.
One in one in 150 trillion. Trillion. So that was the probability of that happening, but it happened. It happened. And even the course that I was on, so I studied economics at uni, and they were only taking 80 people for the economics BSc. And when we got into the lecture, the first thing that he said was, for every one position that there was for this course, I think 5,000 people had applied. And I just thought to myself, my application wasn't that deep. Do you know what I mean? But that's it. You know, sometimes you're just doing things which seem very improbable, but they continue happening. And if they continue happening, there's nothing to say that you can't achieve what you want to achieve. The last thing is self-limiting belief. Sometimes we sit there and we think, I can't do this because of this. I can't do this because of this. And what you're actually doing is you're holding yourself back. Because for a baby to be able to stand up and walk, for that action to happen, it only happens because the parents or the caregivers or whoever are standing and saying, you can do it, you can do it. And the only reason they can stand there and say you can do it is because they know that they've gone through it. They know they've seen other people go through it. So they're convinced that they can do it. And it's their determination to see that baby walks that helps the baby to walk. Because after the first couple of times of them falling down, like how sometimes you're applying for jobs, you're not getting it. After the first few times, you're thinking, maybe this sector isn't for me. Maybe I should be doing something else. You're an entrepreneur. You try and sell your things. Only 5 people buy. And you're trying to pretend like you're doing very well on Instagram. But you're inside, you're giving up. But that baby, for that baby to walk, everyone around them is saying, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. And that's the difference. We need to surround ourselves by people who tell us that we can do it. And the only way you do that is by making sure you're checking your surroundings. If your friends are negative, I'm not saying cut off your childhood friends, but maybe spend less time with them. You need to get yourself into an area where you surround yourself with people who are like those parents who are saying you can do it, so that when it gets tough, you have people who can then pull you back up and get you back on track. And then the last couple is invest in yourself. So don't be afraid to spend more money, to take courses, to get a career coach, to buy books, that kind of thing. Time management. I've got 24 hours in the day. So does Oprah. Or no? 24 hours. You all have the same 24 hours. Everyone I know who's been able to build up a successful business whilst working, what they do is they work 9 to 5, then they have a 1 hour break, and then they continue working 6 till 2. And then they sleep and they start again. Repeat. If you want to build your own empire and you want to do well in your career, you have to be very, very smart with your time. That means that if you're having a useless conversation or you're going out for no reason, or just be protective of your time, because that's the one thing you're never going to get back. As soon as the time has gone, the time has gone. So it's really important that you use your 20 to 30s wisely, use your 30s to 40s wisely, your 40s to 50 wisely, and then obviously after that, just spend time with your grandchildren. But it's very important that we really, really make the best use of our time. So back up a bit, but hashtag is not that deep. So basically, I think I'll just leave you with this, that as you go through, your first job might be not what you expected it to be, but it's okay, because the only thing that you need to concentrate on is your next step. So it's not that deep. Thank you.